Trust is a very important aspect of any organization. There's an old adage that goes, trust is earned, not given. That has rung true in my life time and time again. One story kind of illustrates that from my life. One time I was meant to play in a bar with my band, and the sound guy said he was going to be there at a certain time. A time ran around, and he wasn't there. We started asking people around the bar, like, where's this guy? He's supposed to be here. We never worked with that guy ever again. We ended up leaving. So we didn't trust him. And the reason why is he said one thing and he did something completely different. And this study kind of gets at that. It's called Behavioral Integrity, How Leaders' Reference and Trust Matter to Workplace Outcomes. And it's by Ranga Priory, Khanna, and Barbara S. Lawrence. And it kind of gets at two parts of this class. One is reference power, and it kind of loops to that more than anything. And the other one is trust and credibility. And it also shows how to get those things as well. It shows by study. So I'm going to describe first some key phrases. Then I'm going to talk about the study itself and how it was put together. And then I'm going to talk about the findings. And then I'm going to evaluate it. I'm going to talk about course readings that would apply to this. And then the ease of read, and finally my yes or no on whether we should read this in class or not. So first I'm going to talk about some key phrases that are in this course. The first one is behavioral integrity, which is at the core of it. And this is the perceived alignment between words and actions. So this is doing what you say you're going to do. The next one is trust, a willingness to give over to another person your well-being because you believe they have your well-being at heart. And the next one is organizational commitment, or the commitment to the organization that you're in. The next is organizational cynicism, which is kind of the opposite. It's where you don't believe in the organization to the point of being downtrodden and even going against the organization on some things and trying to thwart them. The last one is the opposite. The next one is the opposite of that, which is organizational citizenship, and that's going above and beyond your job's what you're supposed to do, or the job description. Like if you're meant to stay in over an hour and you stay in over a longer period of time and you don't write down time for it, or you go to a company picnic or like help with a company outing that you're not supposed to do, but you're trying to help out with because you believe in the company. So here's the purpose of this study. I've talked about some key phrases. Now here's how this study worked out. It has three main questions to it. Is there a link between behavioral integrity and trust? The next one is, does trust and behavioral integrity have any link to organizational citizenship, organizational competence, and organizational cynicism? And then here's where it gets kind of interesting. Is there a difference between when supervisors do these things and when upper management does these things? So is there a difference just because of someone being on just the level above you or the level above them? So the way that they did this is they handed out a survey to an oil company in India, and they split it into two parts. The people that responded to the first part got the next part of the survey, and the main reason why they did this is because if they didn't, it would last far too long. It would last, it said the main part would be 40 minutes, but since they split it, it would be about 20. And they wanted them not to like fall asleep in the middle of doing the survey. So what about the findings? They found that behavioral integrity did correlate with trust. They both went up at the same time in both positions, supervisor and upper management. But here's where the differences came in between supervisor and upper management. Supervisors' trust levels going up also showed the citizenship in the organization going up. So if this is only for supervisors, if you trusted in the supervisor, you would go above and beyond. It didn't matter about upper management, but it did matter for your supervisor for you to believe in your supervisor or trust your supervisor. Um, and here's another part that's kind of cool. Supervisors' trust going up led to lower levels of cynicism, but upper management behavioral integrity and not their trust led to lower levels of cynicism. And the reason why they thought this is because there was more than just behavioral integrity when it came to supervisors, because you had like this interaction with them on a day-to-day basis, would lead to lower levels of cynicism. But upper management didn't have that. They only had like telling people what to do, um, and this would create like a. So if they didn't do what they said they were going to do, it would create a certain level of cynicism. So let's talk about the study and how it led into the course through some evaluation. It kind of gave some insight into credibility and how to get some by gaining trust. And one way to gain trust, according to the article, is by doing what you say you're going to do. And that kind of goes along with part of the course, where you do what you say you're going to do, you're going to get some trust and some credibility. But it also alludes to some referent power, because if you people trust you because you do what you say you're going to do, then they're going to do stuff for you, and they're going to believe in you, and they're going to want to be around you, um, and want to do things just because you are you. Um, so the next part is readability. Is this thing easy to read? That's a no. If this was a drink, and we look at Dr. Seuss as being like Sprite, and the Iliad being like a milkshake, this is a Wendy's Frosty being sucked down by a straw. This thing is hard to read, and if you don't know a lot about studies, it's going to be hard to get through. So that being said, I would give it a no for reading it in the class because it is really hard to read, and it is hard to actually bring over the complex terminology over into this course because it is kind of a funky read. But it is good. So in conclusion, I told you about the study, um, some key terminology, how different parts of the power work, um, how the study went about, the findings in the study. Then I've talked to you, criticized the article and how it related to the course through referent power and through trust and trustworthiness. And finally, I told you it was a hard read. Um, Although I do not recommend this for this course, I did think it's good for scholarly articles because it does show you this like different level of thinking and this different level of how to gain trust. And I think it is a good read. Thank you for your time.